Hi everyone, it's me back at it again for episode 16 of True Crime Thursday. Now you know how every year or few years there's a true crime case that shocks the world? Someone commits a crime we never expect, even though any true crime addict knows they happen all the fucking time. Viral cases definitely give publicity to the victim's family, which sometimes turns into financial aid or helping look for the body or other types of support, which is really good. But obviously no family wants to be under the spotlight right after going through a tragedy, so it's a very thin line. And by viral cases, I'm talking ones like Casey Anthony, Nicole and OJ Simpson, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. I could go on. And the most recent one is the murder of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. Now most people probably already know the story because it's been all over the news, so although I will explain her heartbreaking story, this video isn't just about her or Brian. Now Gabby's case deserves attention, don't get me wrong, it was horrific what happened to her, but then when I heard about all the other bodies they found while looking for Gabby and Brian, it reminded me again that a white woman going missing will always get more attention or take more precedent than a person of color or an indigenous person going missing. And while the police searched for hers and Brian's remains, they ended up finding 7 bodies of other people who had gone missing. Now we've heard Gabby's case, but these people deserve to have a voice too, so that's what I'm gonna try and give them. Now the first case is 22-year-old Emily Thillazzo. So Emily's case is eerily like Gabby's, which makes this that much sadder. Now Emily and her husband Joseph lived in their converted bus located in New Hampshire. The two had gotten married during COVID, and come October the two decided to go on a weekend camping trip to Vermont for their first wedding anniversary. So on Friday, October 15th, the couple drove down to Bolton, which is this rural town 2 and a bit hours away from them. Whatever happened on the trip happened because come Monday, Joseph had returned home and Emily was not with him. According to her parents, Joseph claimed they had had an argument in the bus, and as she tried to storm off, Joseph tried to stop her. She then kicked him in the balls and told him she was taking an Uber back home, and that was the last he knew of it, so they reported her missing. The couple had a history of domestic violence, which the parents knew of, but could her disappearance have been an argument gone wrong? No, they honestly thought she was just taking a few days to think things through and she'd be back in no time. The day after the couple was meant to come back, so the 19th, police officers got a tip from someone called Spencer Lemons claiming Joseph had confessed to killing his wife. Now Spencer was giving him a ride back to the couple's bus, but by that point there were state troopers all around it, and so Spencer was like, why? To which Joseph told him Emily was inside and that she wasn't alive. He then asked had he killed her. A resounding yes. Police later questioned Joseph, who confessed to everything. The couple had had an argument during the day and then went out with Joseph's sister and boyfriend before coming back and fighting more. You know those fights, they just take all day and they just don't end. Now since violence had already been normalized in their relationship, Emily was kicking him and punching him, and eventually she just lay on the bed tired and angry. 10 minutes later, Joseph got his handgun, straddled her, and shot her twice in the head. He then moved her body to the bathroom and went for breakfast with his sister the next morning. You know, just why not visit the Ben & Jerry's factory while you're at it, Joseph? Maybe hide her body in there. He then moved the bus to his friend's place where he dismembered her body with a handsaw before putting the pieces in garbage bags and leaving them in the bus. Police found 8 bags of body parts in the bus, and Joseph had the audacity, after already confessing to killing her, to plead not guilty in his arraignment. Now can you imagine, that was already such a meaty case and no one probably even knew about Emily Thillazzo. It's all about Gabby Petito, right? And I mean, that's not a bad thing. I've already said it's not a bad thing that her case got attention, but I mean, it's very much like the missing white woman syndrome. If you've seen You, it's very much like that. A white woman goes missing and everyone just cries Hail Mercy, but then if it's somebody else, they're like, oh, she'll find her own way back. No, that's not the case. And on saying that, moving on to case number 2, 30-year-old Lauren Cho. So Lauren was born in the US and grew up in Hunterdon County, New Jersey. Prior to her disappearance, she was working as a private chef at an Airbnb right outside Joshua Tree National Park. Now the year before that, she was working as a high school music teacher and decided to leave that to go on a cross-country road trip with her friend, soon-to-be boyfriend, Cody Oral, and his tour bus. Now at the time of her disappearance, the couple had already broken up, but he was the last person to actually see her alive. On the 28th of June, Lauren and Cody had been day drinking before the two got into an argument over something. He went inside of his bus and she stormed off without her water, her food, or even her phone. Now this was at 3 p.m. By 5:13 p.m., Cody was worried she hadn't come back yet and reported her missing. Now, search party efforts went nowhere. The police couldn't find any track of Lauren. There were just zero hints of where she could have gone. There was an air search, the K9 team was brought in, but police thought that she maybe voluntarily disappeared since there was no evidence of foul play. On October 9th, however, human remains were found nearby where Lauren vanished and are currently being identified. Now, even Lauren's own family was frustrated at the fact certain cases receive national coverage and others do not. I mean, think about it. Lauren went missing at the end of June and they were only finding her body because they were searching for Gabby's 4 months later. Like, come on. Case number 3, Josue Calderon. Now, I really wish there was more information on Josue's life on the internet for me to share with you guys, but honestly, I couldn't find much at all, which I mean is a blessing or a curse depending on which way you look at it. Now, Josue lived in Rhode Island. He was a father, a friend, and his family claimed he didn't have a car, and I know that's a really weird detail, but it actually matters. So if that was true, how was he found 800 miles away in Watauga County? On October 9th, while police were looking for Brian, they found Josue's body stabbed to death at the Yadkin Valley overlook north of Blowing Rock. The location of his body was really weird because people are there almost all the time looking at the views and whatnot, so how did no one see his body earlier? When the FBI found his body, they actually thought it was Brian's before realizing it wasn't. Now Josue, a black man with not that much information on the internet. Where was his coverage? Where was his story? There was nothing at all. Lauren Cho, like a Chinese American, nothing on her. It just pisses me off just thinking about it. On to case number 4, 55-year-old Sara Bayard. Now, Sara was reported missing on the 4th of July despite being last seen at a petrol pump 6 days earlier. Now, I honestly couldn't find out what she was doing beforehand or where she was going or trying to go, if she was alone or not, so I don't know the context of how she got where she was. Now, as it was the 4th of July, I'm guessing she was maybe heading to a party or coming from one. Remains were found off the highway into Douglas County on October 9th and were identified to be Sara a few days later. Now, what's really creepy is the fact Gabby posted an Instagram of her and Brian at Douglas County the same day Sara was reported missing. So the proximity of all these cases is just crazy. And because of the lack of tissue found with her remains, concluding a cause of death is proving really difficult, so even now we still don't know the cause of her death. On to case number 5, and this one is probably one you guys may have heard of, 19-year-old Miya Marcano. And you guys will probably have heard of the case because her parents made such an uproar of the fact that her case was getting no coverage and Gabby's was getting so much, considering both of them kind of disappeared at the same time. Marcano obviously is of Latino descent, Gabby is a white woman. Again, I'm just drawing the parallels, I'm not trying to be racist to white people at all, I'm just saying. Now, Miya went to Valencia College and had been reported missing on the 24th of September. She was last seen at her apartment complex at the Arden Villas, and it took more than a week for authorities to eventually find her body in a wooded area near the Timber Scan apartment complex. And it was bad. Her mouth, feet, and hands had been bound with black duct tape, and she was only wearing her bra, jeans, and a robe. Now, apparently, there was a maintenance worker at her apartment called Armando Caballero who had expressed interest in Miya, but she had shut it down multiple times. But since maintenance workers have the fob to every apartment, it was concluded that he must have been in Miya's apartment waiting for her on the 24th. His fob was used at her apartment before her disappearance, so all the dots just seamlessly connected. 3 days later, Armando took his own life after taking Mia's. It's unclear whether Miya was alive when she left her apartment and she was killed later on, or whether it had already happened before Armando left the apartment. But it just makes me sad. It really does. Like, Mia's case is worthwhile. Her life was worthwhile. Did she not deserve to be saved or found as much as Gabby? Like, how can people of color win or fight prejudice in this world when the system is so intrinsically against us? Case number 6, 46-year-old Robert Lowry. Now, this is the only body that police found that actually died from self-inflicted injuries rather than external, well, murder. Robert had previously worked as a realtor in Houston and had 2 children, 15-year-old Luke and 12-year-old Meredith. Now, before starting his new job, Robert wanted to go on various camping trips, so he flew to Jackson Hole on the 19th of August and then took a car to Wilson. He was last seen walking on a trail in the Bridget Teton National Forest the next day, but complete radio silence after that. Frantic and worried, his family filed a missing persons report after Robert stopped contacting his kids, but there was just no tips coming in. His body was eventually found on the 28th of September on the Black Canyon Trail, only because police had been searching the area for Gabby. He had died by shooting himself in the head. Now, the final case, or rather the final 2 bodies, case 7 and 8, are Kylan Schultz and Crystal Turner. Now, I had already heard about Mia's case before doing the video, but the rest of them were completely new to me and probably to you guys as well. All very tragic in their own way, but this double homicide of this newly wedded couple just made me feel the worst. The 38-year-old Crystal and 24-year-old Kylan lived in their van, and on the 13th of August, they set off on a camping excursion in the Moab area. The couple were last seen leaving a place called Woody's Tavern at around midnight and would have gotten back to their campsite around 20 minutes later. However, neither of them showed up to work the day after that, either meaning whatever happened to them had to have happened in that short 24-hour period. By the 18th of August, a friend went to check in on the couple and found the girls shot dead. And the only possible lead the police had were the text Crystal and Kylan had sent their family about having to move their campsite because this creepy man wouldn't stop following them. Now, Kylan's father has literally been on police's heads about the fact that this happened in mid-August and still no arrests have been made. Where is this creepy man? Did he do something? Where was his alibi? Let's find that out. And before I get into any more cases, that is that, you guys. This special is going to be broken down into 2 episodes. So obviously the first few cases will be in today's episode and the next few cases will be in next week's episode. And obviously Gabby and Brian's case will also be in next week's episode. So stay tuned for that, you guys. There was just too many cases and I was like, am I going to grab your attention for that long? Who knows? In this day of really short attention spans, you know, you really can't pay attention to much, can you? So, although I'm actually laughing and joking, it's not a laughing and joking matter at all. I did this for a reason, and I wanted to give coverage to colored people of the LGBT community like Kylan and Crystal, who just did not really get any TV coverage, any help in this matter, and I just wish there was more people to support these people when these tragedies were happening to them. So you guys, if you enjoyed, please stay tuned for next week's episode. Bye!